The vibrant Hawaiian culture that flourishes in harmony with the natural resources offer a powerful and timely model for mutually beneficial relationships between human and natural systems in Hawaii and the global community. Matthew Kamakani Lynch currently serves as the Systems Sustainability Coordinator for the 10 campuses of the University of Hawaii.
The mandate that directs our activities directs us to integrate sustainability across our operations, our curriculum, our research, our engagement, and our cultural connections. So the most obvious there is all of the progress on the solar PV that you're seeing going up across the community colleges. And at Manoa, for example, there's that 1 megawatt solar PV canopy on the roof of the parking lot. That's going to be extended to about 5 megawatts. So that whole parking roof will be covered. It's probably the most obvious example of where we interact. That's actually where we started when the office was established in 2015, is because our whole approach is to do what we do in community. So we were established in 2015, but that was after a 2 or 3 year sort of stakeholder process where we sought input from hundreds of stakeholders from across our campuses, students, staff, faculty, admin, community partners, to actually come up with the policy itself. We think of ourselves as a backbone organization, and so it's not really a mission statement, but more our functional statement is that we exist to complement, support, and enhance all of the really amazing sustainability initiatives that are already underway at the campuses. Backbone organization means that we facilitate the sharing and connection of resources. So our whole theory of change is based around this idea of cultivating emergence, which is how change and transformation actually happens in nature, right? These are basic evolutionary ecological processes. Change in nature doesn't happen as a result of a 3-year strat plan or a 5-year strategic directions document, right? It is a constant dance. And that dance is happening because organisms and communities of organisms are sensing into their context or their environment. And as that context or environment changes, if their feedback loops are intact, then they can respond in kind. And they're both shaped by their environment, but also have agency to shape that. That's the dance of emergence. So we think about this a lot. We're really explicit internally that this is the framework that we utilize. How that looks in a legacy institution is we are constantly looking to identify these bright spots. There was a massive amount of sort of complexity, right, that I just shared with you that's informing our thinking, but the actual practice is fairly simple. And that is we look to name and identify these bright spots so that we can nourish them, so we can connect them to each other, so that together, these innovations, these bright spots that are emerging in response to the changing conditions of our times can begin to share information, knowledge, resources amongst themselves, and then individually and collectively illuminate the pathway forward. The Albizia project started as just a bright spot, a student idea. As Joey Valenti, for his doctoral thesis in the School of Architecture, was just wondering, we've got too much of this one thing, this Albizia tree, and we don't have enough affordable housing. So can I connect these two to each other? And I got really excited not only by the way that he was thinking in systems, but also by the potential that this connecting in that way had to actually call forth evolved systems of business. And so what we're actually doing is designing a new species of business that doesn't just do less harm, but is explicit about creating economic drivers for ecosystem restoration. And the first prototype that you see in the corner of University Avenue and Metcalf, that was simply to prove that you could build with this material, right? So we were myth busting. Albizia is problematic because it drops limbs easily. So there was this misperception that, oh, it's junk, it's rubbish, it's weak. Well, over a 3-year period, we did all of the structural engineering tests. We worked across multiple departments. We worked outside of the university. And we've proven beyond the shadow of a doubt through those technical tests, but also through the fact that the structure exists and we can walk through it, that you can actually build, and you can build beautifully with this problematic species. And so the second prototype that we're working on is now thinking at one scale larger. We have been working to develop a prototype at the top of Manoa Valley, which is where Albizia, it's ground zero for Albizia in the islands, where we're working to demonstrate that we can remove, mill, build, and then use the economic energies that are generated from that process to replant and restore and regenerate native ecosystems. The University of Hawaii offers a ton of really robust sustainability-related programming. When we're talking about sustainability-focused curriculum, we are talking about what does it actually mean, what is actually needed, what are the competencies that are actually needed by our students to be able to not just survive in increasingly uncertain worlds, but to be equipped with the necessary tools, knowledge, skills, experiences to be able to navigate these uncertain futures together so that we can problem solve and so that we don't just survive, but we can thrive and flourish even in the face of all of this uncertainty.